So then the question then becomes, where are we in terms of this conflict? There's a lot of triumphalist rhetoric, of course, coming from Israel and the United States, like there was the last time that Israel struck. We took out so many of their air defenses, but also their ballistic missile capabilities. If you look at where the strikes actually happened, they most of them seem to have happened in the west of Iran, very few in central Iran, and almost none in the east. So the question that I have is, the Iranians are vowing a serious retaliatory response commensurate with the attack itself. What is Iran's real capability, do you think, at this point to strike Israel in a meaningful way?
Well, after all, the Israelis have the support of the collective West, and it launched a war against Iran, and they have killed people and they've damaged Iranian assets. A lot of it, though, is misinformation and disinformation, and some of the images that people are seeing online are fake, or they're from somewhere else, or they're AI, but some of them are real. And that's what happens in war, especially when one side suddenly is war and aggression. Iran does have a very powerful deterrent, and that is its missile program and its drone program. But of course, the Israelis went and, with the help of the United States, targeted senior commanders. So they put in place new commanders, and they're regrouping. And I think that ultimately we will see a significant Iranian response. I cannot predict the future, but I am confident that the Israeli regime will not come out on top. They control the internet, they control the propaganda, but we have to remember what happened in Yemen. The White House said, and the Pentagon, or the Secretary of Defense said, that they're going to defeat these the Houthis, as they like to call them, or Ansar Allah, and the Yemeni armed forces. And after a month, we saw they failed. And it was the United States that effectively capitulated. So I think that Iran will start. That doesn't mean the war will end, because Netanyahu needs a war. But this is going to get messy. But if the big question is, do the Americans get involved? If the Americans start striking Iran, then Glenn, I think we're going to have a global economic catastrophe, because those tiny Arab family dictatorships in the Persian Gulf, they host American bases. Iranians will see them as complicit. And if Iran strikes them for being complicit, they'll be swept away in days, if not hours. And that would lead to a global economic meltdown, because the price of oil and gas will go through the roof. So hopefully Trump will be sane enough to stay out of this. Although he is involved, he's deeply involved, but not to go further. I don't know how Iran is going to treat the United States for what it is doing now, or how it is going to treat other entities that are completely.
Yes, I think I think you froze a little bit at the end, and of course, as you mentioned, because you're in Tehran, there's a slowed down internet. But so far, we've heard pretty much everything until the very last few words there, which I think everyone understood the answer.